Rachel Serra is a journalist as well as a single mom. She is currently the dating and romance columnist for J Magazine, San Francisco's Jewish weekly, and has recently written a memoir entitled Single Mom Seeking, Playdates, Blind Dates, and Other Dispatches from the Dating World. Hi, Rachel. Welcome to Now This Interview.
Hi. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for being here. In the introduction to Single Mom Seeking, you write, I wrote this book to stay sane while dating as a single parent. I wrote this book because it helped me out of my dating pitfalls. How has single parenting helped you to find what you want out of life?
Single parenting has helped me tremendously in both my day-to-day life and getting back out there and dating. Of course, when you have a child, the stakes are so much higher, and it's really... Finally, at this point, I just turned 35, taught me that I come first, my daughter comes first, and it's not just about getting out there and finding the man.
Okay, and what's it like knowing that people are familiar with your personal life from reading the book Single Mom Seeking?
The best case scenario is that a man who I might have a date with, he's heard about the book. He perhaps has browsed my website, which is singlemomseeking.com, but he has not actually read the book yet. So usually what happens is, like, a guy's pretty curious. He's like, yeah, I heard you have this, like, sexy, hot single mom dating guide book out, and he's more coming into the date with curiosity. If a guy, I've had instances where men have contacted me and they've read the book and they've said things like, oh, I know exactly what you want. I know how you tick. That's not quite just a slice of my life. They assume they know me already, but not so.
So you compare yourself in the book to a Jewish Carrie Bradshaw. Are you a fan of the HBO series Sex and the City?
I am. Of course, I wish that this show had gone a little bit deeper into emotional depth because it's really fun and games. But I can say in my own life, it's been amazing. I have what I call my tribe. I have these two great single mom friends. They are both Jewish, and we, the three of us, have daughters who are 6 and 7 years old. So we get together every Wednesday night. It's nothing like Sex and the City because what we do is we cook together and eat together. Although a couple of years ago we decided to add a little bit of wine. Like we might have like half a glass of wine. That's about as wild as it gets for us.
Okay. What has been the response from ex-boyfriends and dates since writing the book Single Mom Seeking?
That's a great question. I was a little concerned, say, after my book readings that, an ex-boyfriend who I've been out of touch with, there are numerous ones, that one of them would be standing there in the hallway ready to clobber me. But nothing of the sort has happened, and in fact, I've heard from a couple of ex-boyfriends in the book, and they were really flattered that I wrote about them. One of them even had his mom read the book. And I even heard my first chapters about my crush on the UPS man. And he even called me recently to say that he'd heard about the book. He hadn't read it yet, but he seemed quite flattered.
Now, there's names in this book, and are these names that you have fictionalized, or are these the actual names of the men that you went on dates with?
I did change all of the men's names except for the Israeli, whom I refer to as the Israeli in the book. He did allow me to use his real name, and hopefully it won't haunt him later on in life.
And what chapter is that? No, just kidding. They can skip to that part. But now you talk about creating a Match.com account when you turn 31. And how was the response from men on Match.com compared to JDate?
There's a world of difference. Match.com was my first experience online, and it should have scared me from ever going online again because it really felt like a lot of guys out there really playing the field, seeing kind of how many dates they could get with women. And when a couple years after that, when I decided to go back online, and everyone had highly recommended JDate, but by this time was quite big. I mean, really, that whole stereotype about men, Jewish men who've been raised to value family and who adore children. I have to say, it's been so true. Just my dating experiences on JDate have been really genuine and real, although, unfortunately, with most Jewish men, my experience has been that they feel like a long-lost cousin, and there hasn't been a lot of chemistry, but great connection, great conversation, really smart guys.
Okay. Now, I'm quoting you here. You say, "Are you an honest, big-hearted man with no addictions except coffee?" This is what you said in the first line of your Match.com profile, and you go on to say that you went on JDates and you went on dates, 1 or 2 dates a week while your friends watched over your daughter May. And 1 or 2 dates a week, that becomes expensive. How did that usually work? Did he usually pay, or did you go Dutch, or what happened there?
Right. What I do, it sounds big, but actually what it was quick coffee dates, I call them.
Okay.
Because I think for a first date, I learned the hard way. Planning out like a long dinner date with somebody you've never met, you might have had a short phone conversation, and I really learned the hard way that you could just be miserable. You have this 3-hour-long date with somebody and you're clearly not going to hit it off. It's really awkward. And so for my first date, a half-hour coffee date, so it actually wasn't very much time. And coffee, I'm fine splurging on coffee for somebody, or the guys have usually been fine. And then if we hit it off in half an hour, then I know, okay, I would like to have a second date. Could be dinner, a walk, and let's do it. But no long first dates.
Okay, and what's your advice to women, single moms and single women who are meeting men for the first time, off of dating sites like Match.com or JDate, for example?
Right. I mean, the dating guidelines online are pretty right on. You need to really follow the safety rules about meeting in a public place, letting somebody know where you are, making sure that I usually set up my dates during the daytime or before it gets dark. That way there's no pressure, there's no walking you back to the car, and always go in by your own transportation. Don't let him pick you up on a first date. And so definitely follow those guidelines, and I'm really rigid about having a telephone conversation. I feel like you can really get to know somebody in a 10-minute telephone conversation to kind of rule out any wackos.
Now, I understand you lead workshops for singles in the Bay Area. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I've been doing that at the JCC here in the Bay Area, and also at another nonprofit organization. And it's just so crucial for single parents, divorced moms and dads, to get support. And so it's really groups of parents, we get together and we really talk and open up, and we talk about, our week, what's going really well, what might be challenging. And then there's a lot of networking that happens, swapping childcare, resources. So it's been really great.
How can singles find out more information on those workshops?
You can go to my website, singlemomseeking.com. It's www.singlemomseeking.com. And you can also email me at Rachel, spelled E-L, at singlemomseeking.com, and I can give you more information.
Okay, so thank you very much, Rachel Sarah. I want to close with a quote from the book Single Mom Seeking. I am first and foremost a mom dedicated completely to my daughter's well-being. May Francis Ann will always come first. Rachel, thank you for being a guest on Now This Interview.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being our guest, and we were very happy to have you on Now This Interview.
Thank you.
Thank you. So much. This has been a special broadcast of MySpace.com Now This Interview. Until next time, thanks for joining us.